For the past several years, I've done something most people rarely do. I write detailed, positive feedback about fitness instructors at my gym. Lifetime Fitness, a luxury brand with more than 185 athletic clubs across the US and Canada. The club consistently emails out detailed member surveys. I fill them out, and each time I take the time to write specific, positive feedback about an instructor who earned it. Here's what's interesting. That feedback almost never reaches the instructor. So last week, I tested it again. This time, I added a note expressing my disappointment that my previous feedback was never passed on. I got a reply. I was assured it is and will be passed along. I waited over a week. Once again, never conveyed to the instructor. Sad. Very, very sad. Someone's reading it, yet for some reason, it dies before it ever reaches the one person it was meant for. Picture payroll printing checks on Friday, then locking them in a drawer, earned, sitting there, never handed out. That's exactly what's happening to recognition inside most companies right now. That's the question this video answers, and it's costing leaders everywhere. I see the exact same thing happen inside companies every single week. If you're running or leading a business, you want to grow from 10 to 20 million, 50 to 100 million, and beyond. With a team you already know is capable of more, then this is one of the most expensive leadership blind spots there is. And it's absolutely one of the greatest drivers of growth. I spent the last 35 years helping more than 10,000 organizations, from La-Z-Boy and Marriott to Wells Fargo and the US Army, build teams that actually perform. And the leaders who get this one skill right, their people don't just work harder, they want to, they're committed to, they're motivated to. Now, most leaders believe feedback only means correction. Fix this, change that. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly why that assumption quietly drains the people you depend on most, and the precise way to give the kind of feedback that builds a culture your best people don't want to leave. But first, you need to see what it's actually costing you. So let's start there. The cost. When leaders only give feedback to correct or fix something, here's the chain reaction that quietly starts. First, feedback becomes a threat. The employee learns that feedback equals something's wrong. So instead of leaning into the growth, they brace for criticism. Then motivation and morale begin to erode. Think about it. When the only signal you ever get is, fix this, you slowly start to feel like you can't do anything right. And that breeds excuses and defensiveness, and rightfully so. When someone is never recognized for their contribution and their productivity, defensiveness isn't a character flaw, it's a normal human response. Here's where it gets dangerous. It actually poisons the culture, because one unrecognized employee becomes a team norm, and the team norm becomes the culture. As I always say, either you create the culture or the culture will create you. So bottom line is this: unbalanced feedback doesn't just demotivate one person, it shapes how your entire organization experiences your leadership. Used right, feedback is a leader's greatest tool. Used wrong, it's their most destructive. Same tool, opposite result. Which raises an obvious question. If this skill is this powerful and it costs you nothing, why do so few leaders actually use it? There are 6 reasons, and you'll probably recognize at least one of them in yourself. The first, they should just do their job. Performance is expected, so it goes completely unacknowledged. The second, I don't want it to go to their head. It's the fear that recognition will inflate someone's ego. The third is insecurity, because a leader who lacks confidence sees another person's success as a threat to their own value and importance. The fourth is simply bad habits. They've only ever built the muscle for correction, never for recognition. Or they don't take the time and they don't make it a priority. The fifth, they mistake compliments for feedback. And hold on to that one, because it's a big one we'll expand on. It's also the reason leaders who generally want to do this still get it wrong. And the sixth, they don't understand its power because they've never been actually developed in this essential leadership skill. Now, before I show you that distinction, one quick thing. If you want the exact framework I give executives for delivering this kind of feedback, I've designed a short, free guide in the description below, the Feedback Playbook. This helps build a driven team, making scaling your company much more possible. Grab it after this next part, because if you miss this one distinction, even the best feedback script in the world falls flat. Now, This is the misunderstanding that breaks most leaders. A compliment sounds like this: "Good job this week." And here's the problem: that employee did hundreds of things this week, so they have no idea what they actually did well, which means they can't repeat it. Reinforcement feedback does something completely different. It names two things specifically: the behavior and the impact of the behavior. You name the specific behavior and the impacts it created on productivity, on the team, on the customer, on the project, on the company. And here's the real differentiator: feedback becomes a conversation, not just a attaboy. A compliment stops at "thank you." Feedback opens up conversation. So now that you can see that distinction clearly, let's go back to my fitness club, because now we can actually diagnose exactly what's breaking down. So someone at Lifetime, the fitness club, is clearly reading my written feedback, yet it never reaches the instructor. Why? Let's run through those reasons. Is it no time? Is it just not a priority? Do they think it's not important? Is it management insecurity? Do they want the spotlight on themselves? Is it it's just their job? Or is it that they don't truly understand the power of reinforcement feedback and they've never been developed in this leadership skill? And here's the thing: whatever the reason, the result is exactly the same. A powerful, free, specific piece of recognition earned, sitting in their drawer, a paycheck that never gets handed out. That's not a Lifetime problem. It's a leadership problem, and it's happening inside your organization right now. So how do you actually do this? How do you deliver reinforcement feedback the right way? It comes down to 3 moves, and it mirrors the exact distinction we just made: behavior, impact, conversation. This is part of my feedback shift model and my BIQ framework. Move 1, behavior. You name exactly what they did or are doing. Move 2, impact. You share the result it created. Move 3, the question. You turn it into a conversation instead of a one-way attaboy. Here's what that sounds like in the real world. Let's make believe this is the direct manager of the fitness instructor. Instead of "great job teaching class," you say, "the way you choreograph your warrior sculpt classes, the detailed full body sequences, the music you handpick moves and motivates that room every single week, and it shows." Your waitlist count now runs longer than some classes. Members write in about how you inspire them. You don't just teach a class, you exemplify the Lifetime experience. How do you design your choreography? And how can we use your expertise to develop other instructors? That's reinforcement feedback. The behavior, the impact, and the question that opens the conversation. BIQ. That's a leadership micro shift, a small change in how you deliver feedback that completely changes how your team responds and how their impact grows. Look, reinforcement feedback is one of the highest leverage, lowest cost tools a leader has. And most leaders completely waste it. Don't be the person who reads the feedback and lets it die. Be the leader who passes it on, specifically and in person. Because when you do that consistently, you stop being the boss your people simply report to, and you start becoming a leader they actually want to follow. Stop printing paychecks you never deliver. Catch the behavior, name the impact, and start the conversation. If you want to double your company's profits, subscribe. Every week, I show leaders how to build a culture that drives exponential growth. The kind your best people don't just stay for, they recruit to. My passion and purpose is to build strong leaders who create unstoppable cultures. And here's what most leaders miss. People actually want improvement feedback. They crave it, especially when it's balanced with positive reinforcement feedback. Recognize what's working, then coach what's next. That's a double win: growth and motivation. Now, reinforcement feedback is only one half of the equation, because there's a right way and a deeply wrong way to give improvement feedback. The kind that fixes the problem without making your best people feel defensive. And most leaders get it completely backwards. I broke that down right here, and it's just as important as this video is. I'm Michael Saletta. Share, apply, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.